higher education is inherently deeply conservative and does not change fast or willingly. Secondly, that in many ways this mode is at odds with the direction of the wider world, because a world where young people or even older people are able to pick and mix their coffee choices online or their information sources, often gets a shock when they can't pick and mix their educational choices or educational journey quite as easily. And in theory, there's no reason why we can't do that. I mean, we've seen the rise of massive online open courses, MOOCs, which enable people to dip in, dip out when it suits them fine, and to engage in education outside the normal wrapper of a 4-year course or 3-year course when you're 18 or 19. And, as the economies change, as people's need for learning changes, frankly, there needs to be a lot more flexibility around the learning journey, particularly when people are older. In describing the shift towards a pick and mix world and shifting patterns of trust, I'm not saying that that's all necessarily good or endorse it. There is a real value as social groups in sometimes being forced just to get on with people you might not choose to be thrown into a room with, and to just suck it up if someone tells you to do something, and to get used to the idea of being part of a disciplined system that someone else has designed rather than you yourself has designed. And it's really interesting because there are signs that, in fact, younger people, Gen Z, often likes the situation where choice is removed from them and they just have to get on. Because if, in a way, they can switch off their brains, and it's almost more relaxing than constantly having to choose how to define yourself and what to do. I'm not saying that's good in all circumstances, but there actually is a merit for part of one's life in being thrown into a shared group experience where you're living with others you might not choose, where you have to study stuff that you may not immediately gravitate to, work on someone else's schedule to produce your essays or do your exams or term papers, and be exposed to things you might not otherwise have expected. When we have permanent choice and control, we tend to go down intellectual rabbit holes of our own making, only seeking out things we know, and colliding with the unexpected can be really powerful. And in some ways, that's what university is all about. Should universities change? Absolutely yes. Will they change? Probably not as fast as they should. But are there things about universities that we absolutely should celebrate and retain? Definitely.